today we have with us Chef Anahita Dhondy, who is full of passion and love of all things gastronomy. She's an expert at French cuisine and pastries, has remained the chef manager at the award-winning restaurant SodaBottleOpenerWala, and has also authored a special book on her Parsi roots and food called the Parsi Kitchen. Anahita, that's a lot of stuff that you've done in such a young age. So you've always mentioned that cooking was in the stars for you. After so many years of being a chef, what still keeps you so inspired?
Thank you so much. Honestly, I think just jumping straight into the question and just giving a little background about my journey. I was, I literally grew up in my mother's kitchen,
Okay.
and I'm really fortunate and blessed, touchwood, to have a mom who was constantly experimenting in the kitchen. She always wanted to be a chef, and culinary school, but she never ended up doing that because busy bringing me and my brother up. And it was always her dream. And somehow I always was very interested from a very young age. So I started cooking in her kitchen maybe
Okay.
at the age of 8 or 9 or 10. That was the time that I really got interested. And when I was in school itself, I decided that, as a career, I want to take up the culinary arts and be a chef. And I studied at, both very, very prestigious institutes.
Right.
One is IHM Aurangabad and one is Le Cordon Bleu, London. And started Soda Bottle Openerwala with Mr. A.D. Singh in 2013, where I started as a chef manager and left as a chef partner in early 2021. Jan 2021, I moved on from Soda Bottle Openerwala. And throughout my 9 years at Soda Bottle Openerwala, my only goal was to popularize my own community's food. And
Okay.
I did that through the restaurant chain, obviously, where people really enjoy eating Parsi food, but also my book is called The Parsi Kitchen, which launched in 2021. And while all that's been happening, I've been working on a couple of different projects, consultancies, and now opening another new restaurant in Gurgaon called the Glass House, which should be up and running hopefully in early 2023.
Okay. So that means you always wanted to be a chef. There was never a plan B.
No, I mean, it was always something to do with food. I was very, very sure about it because it just is. When you enter the kitchen and you want to make something, you want to create something, it involves all your senses. And the best part is it's so immersive. And I think as the kind of person that I am who constantly likes to multitask and do multiple things, it brings me a lot of peace and calm. And I just feel like it's something which is meant for me because I enjoy it in all its forms. So it was definitely, being in the food industry. If I wasn't able to cook, then maybe I would have been in marketing.
Oh, okay. So that would have been your let's say plan B, F, G, H.
Yeah, because
A, B, C was
I mean,
food.
my dad's been in the marketing and advertising industry
Right.
for over 35 years now, and I think that's where I would have landed up.
Okay, that's interesting. So the recent project that you seem to be very excited about is the millet movement. Tell us something about that.
So, I started working with millets in early 2016. That's when I discovered and learned about the grain, which is in Hindi known as mota anaj. And
Right.
it is it's a simple grain. It's an ancient grain. It's grown all over India in all the different regions. And there are many different types of millets. People only think कि millet होता है जैसे चावल होता है
Hmm.
एक ही होता है या आटा होता है एक ही होता है, but it's actually many varieties of millets that you get. So, like right from sorghum to foxtail to little kodo pro. So, these are all millet names and they are
Right.
all very different from each other in terms of texture and cooking techniques and flavor. So when I learnt about this grain, I firstly went back to my ancestors and I said that why are you not eating this grain? And there's been this gap where fast food chains and other cuisines all over the country have taken over our Indian food. And I think for me that was my main mission. My mission is to bring back Indian food to be cool. I want people to enjoy Indian food and be proud of Indian food. And millets was one such thing for me, which I discovered along the way in my
Mm.
journey. And I've really taken it as like my own personal grain, which I want everyone to taste and try. And that's what the millet movement is. And it's been brewing in India with a lot of chefs all over the country. And there's also a cookbook that I've contributed to, which is called the Millet Movement in India. And I have a lot
Mhm.
of recipes on social media. I talk about millets
Wow.
all over the world in the UN Chef's Manifesto, which is a part of the Sustainable Development Goals. So I work with them in promotion of this wonderful grain, and it's the International Year of the Millets 2023. So
Okay.
I'm hoping to be extremely busy getting more and more people to try this grain and cook it at home and, hopefully make it very, very cool.
Yeah, and people have this impression that millets will be boring food, but I'm sure
Yeah.
it's not. I'm sure it has various things
Honestly,
that you can do with it.
yes. So what happens is with millets, there's already like a stigma associated with it. There's already
Hmm.
a preconceived notion that millets are like, stodgy porridge, like, khichdi ki
Correct.
tarah hota hai. So people are not very excited about the grain, but it is in the hands of us as chefs
Hmm.
to come up with creative ideas in which we can, share that with you, and so that the consumer can actually try the product.
Interesting. So you started into this industry really young and you've really risen meteoric rise. But of course, there must have been challenges that came across. Tell us something about the challenges that you faced along the way.
So I wouldn't say that, I mean, I had a meteoric rise. Everything happens very gradually with a lot of hard work and dedication
Right,
every
of course.
single day. I think consistency, like anyone else will tell you, is key.
Yeah.
And even with the restaurants and with Soda Bottle Openerwala, the rise happened because we were at it every single day to
Hmm.
create a product that, people would want to come and visit and enjoy. So I would say, it's a lot of hard work, and being in the kitchen anyway is not, a job which is relaxed. I would not call it relaxed. It's not like you're sitting in your, on a table or a couch and working. You're
Yeah.
actually standing on your feet. It's hard work. It's labor intensive, and it's very exhausting because you are standing in front of a flame, taking out order after order. So I would say I've had, good days, really great days, where I've won awards, and I've been on TV shows and I've been applauded. But I've also had days where I have cried in, inside the walk-in refrigerator, or stepped out and had a moment where I needed to just catch my breath. And what happens usually is that it can be a little daunting. It can be, a little hard when people doubt you because of your gender, and because of your capabilities, your age also. Because when I started, I was 23, and I had a lot of chefs who came up to me and said that, "Oh, you're only 23. What are you gonna do? How can you, do this?" Or so you are doubted along the way quite a bit.
Hmm. So, and on the flip side, of course, there are lots of achievements and lots of recognitions. What is it that you're most proud of? What's your most proud moment in this journey?
So honestly, I think one of the proudest moments for me would be definitely the launch of my book. It's something that I worked on 5 years for, and
Right.
it's a labor of
And you
love.
launched it in the middle of the pandemic.
I launched it in October 2021. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that is one of the biggest achievements, but I still feel like there's so much work to be done, especially with my new project that, I'm opening. I'm working on a team where it has more women, and honestly for me that
Okay.
is the biggest award that I can, give myself and the industry. When I started, I was the only girl in my kitchen, and as we
Mhm.
expanded, I was still the only girl in my kitchen with the restaurant. But now that I'm hiring a team, I am at least aiming to have a 50% employee. I'm planning to have at least 50% of the staff being female, and I'm really, really pushing to that because I want to give more opportunities to women. I don't want to be partial, but I want to make sure that I'm giving them, a place where it's, open to learning, safe. a good collective energy, good space, because kitchens can be slightly scary. They
Mhm.
can also be harsh. They can also be, the language can be heavy and abusive. So, I want to create that safe space for them where I give them a platform, to join. So for me, that would be my biggest achievement and award, and obviously lots of more work to be done in the industry.
So, would you say that you have along the way faced gender bias?
So in terms of, gender bias, I think what happens usually is that men in this specific industry, in the hospitality industry, haven't really seen women
Hmm.
working in leadership roles. So for them, um, there is a little bit of an issue with conditioning and what they've
Hmm.
seen. They've only seen men in the industry. They've only, heard orders from men in the industry. They've never seen a woman in a powerful position. So
Right.
in the beginning, even though there were times that I faced comments like, you're a girl, how will you do this? Or how are you managing the team? And, you're so young. Or how difficult is it, to lead your team? I would say it was very difficult because I had to change mindsets. It really
Right.
started from there. And I can tell you successfully that the only way their mindsets change is if you work with them as a team player, and you do not
Correct.
create any discrimination between them and you. So I actually learned this on the job, that the more that you actually work with them as a team player, the better it is and the more respect they have for you. So I feel overall, so much conditioning has happened with my team that they all respect me even more for the kind of work and
That's good.
dedication that I do. But honestly, it took time, a lot of time and effort to make that happen. In the beginning, there was a lot of doubts. There were a lot of doubts in their minds, but the senior management was extremely supportive. So,
Right.
having mentors like Mr. AD Singh, anything that I would come up with was never, put aside because of my gender. It was always questioned depending on the kind of work it
Super.
was, never because
Super.
of my gender.
And how have you managed to remain on the top of your game for all these years?
I think, I don't know if I've remained at the top of my game. For me, it's important to stay relevant, and the only way that you can stay relevant is A, to embrace change, and B, to keep learning. And especially in our industry, there's so much happening, there's so much to learn, see, do, create, that I feel, the more you keep your roots in the kitchen, the better for you. And I think you'll keep learning. And for me, it's been a blessing that I've been able to share all of that
Right.
on my social media. So, the response has been very overwhelming, because as I learn, I also share, and then, people also, get that information and appreciate it.
So, what are your interests other than cooking?
I really have my own me time, so I really enjoy
Yeah.
traveling. I mean, for me, that's a
Okay.
great stress buster and also a great learning experience. I like cooking at home with no one
Okay.
to judge my food except my
Okay.
husband and my family. So I really like creating something for my own self, and it could just be a hot cup of soup, or just something very comforting, like most of my meals are dal chawal and simple
Okay.
vegetables. Today I've cooked a loki dish for dinner. So
Oh, nice.
it's simple things that give me a lot of comfort. But other than that, I love reading, I love dancing. Dancing has always been something that I've always enjoyed. So yes, traveling, dancing, reading, and my biggest stress buster is my puppy, which
Okay.
I love chilling with and playing with.
Yeah, that's great. So, you talked about travel. Which are the your favorite travel destinations?
Okay, so favorite travel destinations that I've visited, definitely Hong Kong is on the top of my list. I
Okay.
love the food, the vibe of the place, especially when I visited in 2019. And I would say, in terms of the most relaxing holiday that I've had till date, was Maldives. We
Okay.
stayed at a beautiful
Always.
Italian
Yeah.
island. Italian resort, which the food was great, tops the chart. So Hong Kong, Maldives, and I would say Singapore, which has got the most amazing vibe. So definitely another city to check out. So these three, and what I want to visit is Japan. It's been on my list forever. So I'm hoping that I can manage a trip, a food trip to Japan in 2023.
So when you travel, is food top of the mind, or you just want to disconnect from food when you travel?
No, no, food is top of the mind. Like
Okay.
that is what we plan. So every trip that I plan, I do my research and definitely plan all the restaurants, street food carts. They could be, crowdsourced ideas, anything which will get me the best dishes. So because when you taste something where it's locally made, I think you get the best. That is the best teacher that you can have, and especially for us in the culinary industry, that is where we learn to taste and then come back and have our own versions of it.
So any plans of launching any restaurant internationally, or if you were to do it, where would it be?
Uh, I would be quite, selfish right now, honestly, and just say Dubai because it's the closest and
Right.
easiest to travel to. It takes the same amount of time to go to Hyderabad or Bangalore as to go to Dubai. So definitely Dubai because it's a hot pot of different
Oh
cuisines
yes,
and people, and
absolutely.
it's got a great energy as well and a good spending power. So in terms of restaurants, definitely doing well there. But if you ask me, what would be something that I would love to do, it would not be in India. It would not be abroad. It would be in India, and that would
Okay.
be in the hills. So I hope
Okay.
that I someday open my own cafe and restaurant in the hills.
Oh, how nice. So, of course, this is a very high pressure job. So, what do you do to de-stress?
I usually, it just is a couple of moments when you're back at home where, I can just have a cup of tea. I love
Mhm.
drinking chai. I'm a total chai person. So it, is tea sitting in the winter sun right now, having probably a simple paratha made with like gobi,
Wow.
gajar, and shalgam and lots of butter.
Oh, wow.
Something that honestly brings me comfort would be something which is warming. I just feel
Right.
like you're naturally, um even in the summers, I'm not a person who likes really icy cold drinks. So I'm a person who would want to be in a cold environment but enjoy like a warm cup of something. And when my stomach is warm, I think that's what completely de-stresses me. And a good massage, that I would definitely
Ah,
recommend
yes.
because chefs are exhausted people most of the time. So
Yes.
a great massage is always good.
So, how do you manage to keep healthy with so much of food around you? What do you do to stay fit?
I honestly do many detoxes myself.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't eat gluten for a couple of weeks. If I'm tasting, I will taste, but I'll taste very, very little. But I wouldn't eat a
Mm.
full meal. Sometimes if I'm having only vegetarian food, it'll be vegetarian. It could be vegan, a mix of vegan. Sometimes it could just
Mhm.
be grilled meats. So I keep, depending on how I'm feeling, how my body is feeling, I keep creating menus for myself, which are not on social media.
Okay.
And I try, and I wouldn't say that I'm very fit, but working out does make me feel great. So I try and get at least 3 days of a workout in a week.
Okay. It was, what is it? Yoga, Pilates,
It's a
gym?
mix. It's a
It's a
mix of
mix.
HIIT, yoga, Pilates.
Okay. So, tell me, there are a lot of young girls who are aspiring to become chefs. I mean, looking at people like you, they want to go into this line. Would you like to give a piece of advice to young girls who want to foray into this line?
I think my advice to young girls would be that, don't let an industry or the past of an industry, define, uh, your goals and where you want to be. It might be a male dominated industry, but till the time you don't create that your change, it's not going to happen. So, be the change that you want to see in short
Yeah.
words. I think that's very, very important. And if you love what you do, you're not going to work a day in your life. So
Right.
just be passionate. If you want to be in the culinary industry, if you want to be a chef, you want to be a baker, you want to be in the F&B industry, go for it, because honestly there is so much space And it is the best time to be in this industry right now because there's so much growth, there's so much to learn, and it's
Right.
a great industry to be in. And there are a lot of people who are already creating the path for you. So, jump in and let's make this a better, bigger, happier space with more women in the industry.
That's great because yes, food is so important, always has been, even more now.
And it's
Just one
also
last.
constantly evolving, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And people are experimenting. That's the interesting thing, is that people are experimenting with food. That's because people are getting more chances to experiment, with the chefs creating such interesting dishes. So just one last question. What does woman empowerment mean to you?
Okay, so women empowerment, I would say, just in a couple of words, would be to give the right recognition, the right love, and create a platform for people who probably do not have that. And I think
Mhm.
it's each one of our responsibilities, at least wherever we are in whichever industry that we are in. We want to make sure that we get more and more people into the industry. And the only way we can do that is by creating an environment which is uplifting, which is a good environment to be in. And that's the only way that we'll have more women joining the industry.
Super. So, Anahita, that was lovely talking to you. And thank you for accepting our Women Inspire Award. You're really very inspirational, not just to the chefs, but to, I think, any young girl who wants to foray into something exciting. And we look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing you on the 16th.
Thank you
And
so much. Just please do, convey
please,
my regards to the entire team and everyone
we
who's watching, all the women who are watching. And if you want to get into the F&B industry, get into it and, be passionate about whatever it is that you want to do in life.
yes, absolutely. We totally agree with you. Right, Anahita. Bye. See you.
Thank you so much. And